February 14th, 1884. A day that would break any ordinary man. A 25-year-old rising political star receives a terrifying telegram and rushes home, only to watch his mother die of typhoid fever. Just hours later, in the very same house, his young wife takes her last breath in his arms, succumbing to kidney failure. In his diary that night, he simply drew a massive black X and wrote, "The light has gone out of my life." To escape the crushing ghost of his grief, this frail, asthmatic young man abandoned his political career, fleeing to the brutal, unforgiving badlands of Dakota. He went looking for oblivion. But instead, the wilderness forged a monster of sheer willpower. This is the untold story of Theodore Roosevelt, the grieving cowboy who accidentally became the most powerful man in the world, and single-handedly built the American empire, forged in fire and blood. The Badlands didn't just heal Roosevelt, they transformed him. He learned to ride, hunt, and survive in the harshest conditions, shedding his image as a weak, privileged New York elite. But a devastating blizzard in 1886 wiped out his cattle ranch, forcing him back to the East Coast. The political arena he returned to was a vicious blood sport. But Roosevelt was no longer a fragile boy. He quickly climbed to the ranks, eventually becoming the Assistant Secretary of the Navy. Yet, a comfortable desk job couldn't hold him. When the Spanish-American War erupted, Roosevelt did the unthinkable. He resigned. He formed the 1st Volunteer Cavalry, a ragtag group of cowboys, Native Americans, and college athletes, immortalized as the Rough Riders. San Juan Hill came bullets raining down like hellfire. Roosevelt, on horseback, charged directly into the Spanish trenches. It was a bloody, chaotic, and suicidal mission, but it was a victory. He returned to New York not just as a politician, but as a legendary war hero. He was quickly elected governor of New York. But there was a problem. Roosevelt was too honest, too aggressive, and completely uncontrollable. He began tearing down corruption, infuriating the Republican political bosses. They needed him gone. So, they hatched a brilliant, devious plan: nominate him for vice president, a purely ceremonial role with zero actual power. The ultimate political graveyard. They thought they had finally silenced Theodore Roosevelt, but fate had a much more explosive plan in mind. The Accidental President, September 6, 1901. 2 deafening gunshots shattered the cheerful atmosphere of the Pan American Exposition in Buffalo, New York. President William McKinley collapsed, assassinated by an anarchist. Just like that, at the age of 42, Theodore Roosevelt was sworn in as the youngest president in United States history. The political bosses who tried to bury him were completely horrified. One of them famously groaned, "Now look, that damned cowboy is president of the United States." Roosevelt didn't just occupy the White House, he weaponized it. Before him, the American presidency was relatively weak compared to Congress. Roosevelt changed that forever, maximizing executive power to solve the massive crises of the 20th century. America was rapidly becoming an industrial superpower, but it was built on the broken backs of the working class. Ruthless monopolies controlled everything. Roosevelt declared war on them. He shocked the nation by suing the massive Northern Securities Company, a railroad monopoly backed by the richest men in America, and he won. The Supreme Court ordered the monopoly to be dissolved. The Trust Buster was born. He didn't stop there. He passed the Pure Food and Drug Act to stop corporations from selling poisoned meat to citizens. When coal miners went on a massive strike, threatening to freeze the country in winter, Roosevelt didn't just send the army to crush them. He forced the greedy mine owners to the negotiating table, securing better wages and shorter hours for the workers. He proved that the government could actually fight for the little guy, the global superpower and the peacemaker. With the domestic front stabilizing, Roosevelt turned his relentless energy outward. He believed that if America wanted to survive the coming century, it needed to be a global superpower. And a superpower needs two things: a dominant navy and a shortcut between the oceans. For centuries, ships had to sail a treacherous 2-month journey around the tip of South America to get from the Atlantic to the Pacific. Roosevelt decided to do the impossible: cut the American continents in half. When Colombia refused to let him build, he supported a revolution in Panama, recognized the new country, and bought the rights to the canal. It was a $400 million mega-project that claimed thousands of lives and took 10 years to build. But the Panama Canal changed global trade forever. Often to prove America was now untouchable, he painted 16 modern battleships stark white and sent them on a 14-month tour around the entire globe. The Great White Fleet was a massive flex of military muscle, telling the world, do not mess with the United States. Yet, for all his warrior spirit, Roosevelt's most surprising achievement was peace. When the brutal Russo-Japanese War threatened to destabilize the globe, this damn cowboy sat the leaders down in New Hampshire and negotiated the Treaty of Portsmouth. For ending a bloody war, the former Rough Rider became the first American to win the Nobel Peace Prize. The ultimate legacy war's end. Economies fluctuate, treaties are broken. Roosevelt knew this. So, what was the true lasting legacy he wanted to leave behind? You have to remember the broken, grieving 25-year-old man who fled to the Dakota wilderness. Nature had saved his life, and now he watched helplessly as massive corporations chopped down ancient forests and polluted pristine rivers. He wasn't going to let that happen. Using a bold interpretation of the Antiquities Act, Roosevelt bypassed Congress and single-handedly saved the American landscape. He protected a staggering 230 million acres of land. He established 150 national forests, 5 national parks, and 51 bird reservations. From the Grand Canyon to Yosemite, he ensured that the true wealth of America, its natural beauty, would belong to the people forever. Theodore Roosevelt redefined what it meant to be a leader. He transformed tragedy into unbreakable strength, fought for the working class, and built the foundation of the modern United States. He was the first modern president. If you love diving into the untold stories of history's greatest titans, hit that subscribe button right now to join our community. And we want to hear from you. What do you think was Roosevelt's most impressive achievement? Breaking the monopolies or saving the American wilderness? Let us know down in the comments below.